and a person came to my house that wasn't a Christian and told me come over, and then 30 minutes later I was in handcuffs headed to the hospital. Now this person...
She was put in front of a judge and given a guardian. That was when they took her away from us.
I have no money. And I'm gonna tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
That if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears you. I mean, look at
they would have Michael Jackson
or worse.
Also, this situation with Wendy Williams is seriously sending shivers down my spine, and Kane is now out here claiming that Hollywood handlers are allegedly pulling some shady moves to silence Wendy and force medication on her against her. Personal trainer Harley Pastoric accusing him of being a handler linked to the intelligence agencies, so Harley Pastor Nick directly threatened Kanye that he would institutionalize him and send him back to Zombieland. And I still can't get over how nobody in the media discussed how absolutely insane those messages were. But what's even crazier is that Pastor Nick's career was not at all affected by it. Kanye, on the other hand, well, he almost lost everything over a tweet, and it's not just Kanye. Who's been talking about these Hollywood handlers years ago? Dave Chappelle spilled the tea about being pressured into taking antipsychotic meds that he didn't need, and he literally had to escape to Africa to get away from these people.
The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
Took me off my normal meds I'd been on for 5 years. And lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was used to. You can go mentally impaired if you take too much.
Now, this buzz that Wendy Williams is now practically being held hostage by the people who placed her under a financial guardianship, and word on the streets is that this new documentary that recently dropped is part of their strategy to convince the public that Wendy is unstable and in need of this guardian. But wait, there's definitely more. You know how some time ago Wendy Bank Wells Fargo froze her assets before they had any concrete proof that she was incapacitated? Well, fast forward a couple of years and suddenly Wendy's diagnosed with dementia. How convenient. Well, listen, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but there's no way all these celebs suddenly went crazy the moment they started exposing all the shady stuff in the entertainment industry and making a whole lot of money. But this Wendy documentary, it just still doesn't sit right with most fans. It honestly feels like somebody was pulling all the stops to make us believe Wendy's completely off her rocker, so no one would question the financial conservatorship they slapped on her without her consent. But what does Kanye have to do with Wendy's situation? And seriously, what is this whole deal that's going on between Hollywood handlers popping out left and right, treating these celebs like they're puppets? Well, there's definitely a whole lot to unpack here, so let's get into it.
One of the things that people do now is they try to discriminate against my mind and my thoughts.
So I'm sure you've caught wind of the recent unfortunate developments surrounding Wendy Williams just a few days after her Lifetime documentary titled "Where is Wendy Williams" aired on February 24. The heartbreaking news broke that Wendy has been diagnosed with aphasia and frontal temporal dementia. Now let's break down what these diagnoses actually mean. Aphasia is a disorder that affects speech, writing, and language comprehension. As for the frontal temporal dementia, it's the same disease Bruce Willis was diagnosed with. Basically, it's a brain disease that causes problems with behavior and language. Sadly, there is no cure or treatment, and those diagnosed with this type of dementia require round-the-clock care for their daily functions. Now we know Wendy has been quite candid about her health struggles over the years, dealing with Graves' disease as well as her battle with alcohol and substance use. However, Wendy's fans are raising eyebrows over the timing and circumstances surrounding her dementia. A diagnosis is becoming a talking point because it coincided with her bank Wells Fargo declaring her as an incapacitated person and freezing her assets. And they did this 2 years before she was officially diagnosed. Well, let's give you some context first. So Wendy's been through a bunch of personal and health stuff over the years, and she's never been shy about her battles with substances. Back in 2019, She dropped a bomb on her talk show, spilling the details that she'd been staying in a sober house for a minute now, and fans were showing major love for her, keeping it real and her struggles and pushing folks to seek help if they needed it.
Some time now, and even today and beyond, I have been living in a sober house. When you see me come to work, glammed up, right after the show, I go across the street, I do my Pilates. I told you 2 hours a day, I like to take care of my body. And you know I've had a struggle with cocaine in my past, and I never went to a place to get the treatment. I don't know how, except God was sitting on my shoulder and I just stopped. Our Hunter Foundation just launched last week. We have already successfully placed 56 people in recovery centers around the world, not just the country. It's a 24-hour hotline, 7 days a week. Call 888-5.
However, only 2 weeks after Wendy let everyone went in on her sober house situation, the news hit that she had a relapse and had to be taken to the hospital. So even back then, there was a lot of speculation that Wendy took a tumble off the wagon because she caught wind that her now ex-husband, Kevin, was playing foul and cheating on her. But then Wendy came clean and revealed that she'd been in the loop about Kevin's affair for years. However, what really threw her off the deep end and made her drop the divorce papers was finding out that Kevin went and fathered a whole child with his side piece, Shireen.
Yeah. You know, infidelity is one thing. A full baby is a whole nother topic. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, you said in the New York Times Magazine, I'm a very forgiving person, but there's one thing I could never be a part of, and that one thing happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
wow.
that was it.
Yeah.
The baby did it.
A baby. I'm not changing Pampers. I want to be pampered.
Yeah.
This backwoods Barbie, you know, he was tricking up money. She's in the passenger seat of my Rolls Royce Ferrari. And, you know, I mean, really? Really? And our son's in Miami. So I have to be calm on the phone with him, you know, like a loving mother. I have to be happy on the TV every morning live from New York. And I read about it in the blogs and the tabloids, the address of this place that he had purchased to share with this backwoods bitch, 9 miles from my house in Livingston. And they're living the high.
However, only 2 weeks after Wendy let everyone went in on her sober house situation, the news hit that she had a relapse and had to be taken to the hospital. So even back then, there was a lot of speculation that Wendy took a tumble off the wagon because she caught wind that her now ex-husband, Kevin, was playing foul and cheating on her. But then Wendy came clean and revealed that she'd been in the loop about Kevin's affair for years. However, what really threw her off the deep end and made her drop that divorce papers was finding out that Kevin went and fathered a whole child with his side piece, Shireen.
Mom, you know, everybody's gonna have these questions and I'm not gonna dwell on that. You know, she is getting the help that she needs. And hopefully, you know, she'll come out of this a swinger. I know she got it in her. As far as my immediate family, you know, I could not do it without the gracious help of my queen that's representing me now. Sharina Hudson and the family I have. Everybody's family. Let's be clear. Everybody's family, and I realize that I have to swing the sword for my whole family because there are a lot of people that's trying to exploit what I have built along with my family. Nobody, and I mean nobody, will ever bring the energy, the charisma, the passion, the expertise, the talent, and whatever else you want to call it, like you seen Kelvin Hunter and my ex, Wendy Williams, and the team that was behind us. And I mean the whole team. That includes my current lady now, because it takes a village. And I'm gonna say it, yeah, I said it.
But just when we were hoping Wendy would catch a break, news broke that Wendy's bank, Wells Fargo, froze all her accounts and was trying to pressure her into a financial conservatorship by claiming she's an incapacitated person who can't handle her own money. But listen to this, the bank took the whole shebang to the New York Supreme Court, asking the judge to assign Wendy a temporary financial guardian to keep tabs on Wendy's cash flow. However, Wendy and her legal team fired back, pointing fingers at Wendy's former financial advisor, Lori Schiller. They claim that Laura fed Wells Fargo a line about Wendy being incapacitated, and allegedly this happened after Wendy fired Lori for professional misconduct. But Wendy's lawyer came swinging with the counter-move and requested a temporary restraining order against Wells Fargo, arguing that they were unlawfully interfering in Wendy's financial matters and preventing her from accessing her financial statements. However, the court sided with Wells Fargo. In December 2022, The Sun reported that attorney Sabrina Morrissey had been appointed as Wendy's financial guardian, but let not overlook the fact that Wendy publicly called out Lori Schiller and Will Fargo when all this went down. Flaming Day cooked up a whole conspiracy to put her under guardianship, and you'll hear in a second that Wendy wasn't sounding incapacitated at all.